How was domestic life changed for women by the easy access to electricity between the world wars? After World War I ended in 1918, one of the most explosive decades of the century began, the Roaring Twenties. It was a time for change and prosperity in every way. Remembered for its flappers, music, social change, automobile craze, and advancements in radio, television, and film. The 1920s were like the electric revolution of the 20th century. The electrical industry provided new, improved electronic goods, strongly affecting people's domestic lives. Firstly, in 1927, refrigerators became more suitable for domestic use and gave people the chance to store food for a longer period of time. The first refrigerator to see widespread use was the General Electric monitor-top refrigerator introduced in 1927. It was more compact and easy to use than previous refrigerators. The compressor assembly, which emitted a great deal of heat, was placed above the cabinet and surrounded with a decorative ring. Over 1 million units were produced. Secondly, throughout the 1920s and 30s, the first models of electric dishwashers appeared, targeting the modern housewife. She wouldn't have to spend as long doing the dishes and could use her saved time to do more productive activities. The Hydroelectric Manufacturing Company of Milwaukee produced this early model of the electric dishwasher in the 1920s and 30s. Also, beauty products such as curling irons and hair dryers were improved during the 1920s. The most important change was that they were now made out of plastic instead of iron to make them lighter. This made it easier for women to make themselves look more attractive and use different styling techniques. Also, with the fast growth in the movie industry and the popularity of female celebrities, women wanted to look more like them.
The idea of women having sewing machines to ease their sewing burden was not as well received as you might think. In the middle of the 19th century, women were considered to be much too delicate to run anything mechanical. However, in the 1920s and onwards, the use of sewing machines became more popular, especially for women. This was because they had become freer over the past decade, and with the growth of mass production of clothing and linen, faster and more efficient ways were needed to produce those goods.
Another household item that was frequently used by housewives in the 1920s was the toaster. Over the years, competing companies came up with lots of designs for toasters to try to appeal to the consuming public. Some toasters, called pinchers, had spring-loaded doors to hold the bread tightly. Swingers had baskets to hold the bread slice that could be swung around. Floppers had doors that flopped open. And tippers let the bread tip out of the machine, and droppers dropped the toast out.
In 1924, the first dial phone appeared in Toronto, Ontario, but the handset and the mouthpiece wasn't added until 1927. By 1929, the phone was commonly used by people for domestic and overseas calls. Women who stayed at home most of the time used the phone to chat and gossip with their friends who were elsewhere.
Mary, he's waiting. Hello?
Forgot my hat.
Hee-haw. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Gee, good to hear your voice again.
Oh, well, that's awfully sweet of you, Sam.
Overall, the 1920s was a period of innovation and many technological improvements that changed women's household lives throughout the developed countries. Their lives became easier with the use of new electronic gadgets. Cooking, cleaning, and styling became faster, more efficient, and this gave women more free time for leisure.